Hey, guys. Oh, there we go. Hey, guys. What's going on, everybody? Back when we're Flesh and Blood this evening. I'm going to be playing Oldhim tonight. I kind of thought I was done with Oldhim, if y'all want the truth. I had kind of hung up Oldhim after qualifying for Nats. And I was expecting to honestly just kind of be done. You know, after he hit LL, I didn't expect to play him much. But there is a 1K this weekend on Saturday that I'm testing for. It's a round games 1K. Oh, excuse me. So if I win that tournament, I get invited to Round Games 20K in Columbus at the end of the year. I'm not exactly sure when that is. Hopefully it would be convenient and kind of work out with my schedule. But I'm mostly just going to hang out. Like the store that's hosting the 1K this weekend is called Out of the Box Gaming, and they're in North Carolina. I'm a big fan of a lot of the guys that play at their shop, and, you know, just the store owner in general. They're just good people, and so I'm going to support them mostly. But also having a chance to play at Round Games 20K would be cool. So I'm sure a lot of people that we run into in the queue tonight are not going to be happy about playing against Oldhim, but I'm pretty excited to get some more games with Oldhim in. Let's see. I got to find my Oldhim deck here. And let's go comp CC. All right, so not many changes to my deck, honestly, as a whole. Just a couple. I've made a couple of changes. We'll take a look at them while we're waiting on our opponent here. Our equipment suite is still the same. Everything is exactly the same. We haven't changed the equipment at all. Playing against Azalea, which means we're probably playing against Dreadbore, if I had to guess. So against Azalea, we're going to cut Remembrance, and we're going to leave everything else in. I've added Zealous Beltings back into the deck, and I put the rest of the pummels in the deck. I cut Respites to add the pummels back in, and I cut Channel Lake Frigids to be able to play the Zealous Beltings. Zealous Beltings make our Guardian matchup better, and they also make us better into Dramai. I didn't cut a Popper for them, and the Respites we do give up a little bit of points by cutting Respite to play the pummels, but I just really like playing all the other pummels right now, so we're just going to play them and see what happens. If we have a bad showing tonight, then we'll know that maybe we need to make some changes going into just before, like, maybe I need to make some changes before the weekend. Read the glide path. The bad thing about them going first is that they can dominate whatever they do here, and that's just really bad for us. Yeah, I mean, 10 dominate's tough. They have Seek and Destroy effect, which again is not great. So I'm not going to give up any equipment here. We'll block 4 and go to reactions and Oldhim react here. And we'll Earth react. So we'll take 4 here. I mean, could have been a lot worse. Playing other decks probably would have taken like 7. So it could have been a lot worse, all things considered. We do have a Seek and Destroy effect. So Zealous Belting is actually a really good draw here. So we're going to go Zealous Belting into Endless Winter. Could have just fused the Endless Winter, but I think that Zealous Belting, like having a 13-point turn here and Endless Winter still having a relevant on-hit effect by itself, like, it's a very good turn here. Plus, we would have just had to, like, let our Winter's Grasp just get destroyed, and I'm not a huge fan of that line of play, so I definitely like where we're here. Value? Dude, we definitely got value off of this line of play here. Like, this was value town. Of all the things that I could have drawn, this was towards the top of the list. We're going to go Buckling Blow, then Winter's Grasp. So we put 4 cards into our deck. Glacial Footsteps. Frostfang, or not Frostfang, I can't remember. It's the Ice card, whatever it's called. We put 4 cards into our deck. Used Bullseye Bracers here. I mean, am I just blocking Footsteps, disable Rouse? Or, yeah, I think we're just blocking like this. They have nothing else that they can do. And we'll just arsenal our Command and Conquer and just set up to start playing the long game here. Command and Conquer Pummel looking pretty good. Being able to play block with Disable. We can't really use the Sink Below here. Already getting Peach Cobblers and Bullseye Bracers. Yeah, I don't really agree with the whole them using Bullseye Bracers that turn. I don't think that's a good line of play. But I'm not going to complain. Definitely helps us out. Or just CNC Pummel after blocking 7. So I would love to CNC Pummel, I would love to block 7 here. But the Dreadbore prevents me from blocking 7 with the Sink Below. So we're just going to end up arsenaling the Sink Below. Ew. Let's see, what is this for? 7? Okay. That's a good one. Yeah. So let's see. This is for 4, 6, 9. I'm just trying to see if I can cover it up. I don't think it's right to cover it up here, but we could go Crown Rampart is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I could cover this up here. I actually don't think that's right. I actually think it's just correct to block with Chokeslam here and just take our CNC Pummel turn. This is better for you than the Fatigue Shot. It actually, oddly enough, is 100% better for me than the Fatigue Shot. I definitely don't feel like it's right to crown there and like try to cover it up. Command and Conquer Pummel just has way too much value. And also, there aren't many times just game 1 you just naturally draw Command and Conquer Pummel. I mean, I guess when you're playing 3 Pummels, it does come up more. Your attacking hand and Arsenal, Ponder and Endless on hits don't matter. Yeah, no, all the cards that they played right there like were just extra damage. They weren't like super relevant to why we normally want to block. Lexi's a lot better at presenting relevant Endless Arrow effects. Now they have 1 card. They're just going to Arsenal and pass. Is this reveal 13 into Command and Conquer again? 7 and 6 is 13. Wow, this feels pretty good. Pretty good start to our game here. Putting on a lot of pressure here as Oldhim, which is not something I'm super used to saying. Ral CNC feels pretty good. I mean, the whole start of this game feels pretty good, honestly. Like, just feels like we're in a pretty good spot. They lose their knock and just take 6. Okay. I mean, so we have block with Sink Below and then Terrace under Hammer if it lines up, and then Arsenal the next Sink Below. Okay. What is this? Does this thing do anything with an aim counter? No. Book it. That's right. Let them know, Ben. So let's see. We're definitely not crowning here, but this is for 4, 7, 8, 9. So 4, 5, 6. So we block Cranial Crush, Elbow Cough. Oh, man. All right. So if we block Debilitate, Debilitate 3, 4, 5, 9. Feels like a pretty good use of our hand here. I don't really want to take any life if I don't have to. I'm just gonna put the Terra Sunder to the bottom, churn through our deck. I was like, maybe I get lucky and we draw a sigil. And then I'm just gonna pitch the Fate Foreseen here, come in for 4, still make our turn pretty valuable. Pitching the Fate Foreseen's fine. I want to see some second cycle defense reactions, honestly. Oh no, that's not good for us. I'm gonna be honest, I never really play around this card. Like, unless there's like some kind of like weird scenario where you show it to me, I never actually play around that card. Man, if this hand had a second blue in it, we'd be rolling right here. This hand would be great. Like, if that Sink Below was a blue, man, they wouldn't know what's going on. I mean, I guess we could Sink Below from Arsenal to sink our Sink Below. So now that's not really an option. This is going to come in for 7. So, block Spinal Crush. Trying to think here, my line. We're not crowning because we're going to use our Sink Below, but this feels like Washington. Dude, when you say that, I hear that in my head every time. So if I block Spinal Crush and then I Sink Below, putting the Pummel on the bottom. That's a pretty rough pitch stack that we've set up there, honestly. But I think that's okay. I mean, we're in a pretty decent spot here. I guess the other option was Sink Below from hand. No, because the Battering Bolt still would have gotten us. What do you use to multi-stream? I use what's... I'm having a stroke right now. I got to pull it up. It's called Restream. Restream is what I use, and it's actually really sweet here. I actually thoroughly enjoy Restream. It's really cool. And yeah, we're probably going to kill him before we get back to pitch stack here. Like 6 squirrels under a trench coat fleeing the grocery store. Ben, I don't know where you come up with this stuff, brother. We'll Arsenal that. So if we manage to keep our entire hand, we can go Terra Sunder Buckling Blow, which is really cool. Bin places, that's, yeah, bin places is exactly right. And that's what he'll tell you too. Official bin business, as he likes to say. Give me back my horse rights. Alright, so this is 3. Oh no. So I need to figure out the most efficient way to block here, and we can just put the Sink Below on the bottom. I think we can just crown here pretty... Because Red in the Ledger is going to make it to where I can't play Terra Sunder. All your horses belongs to me. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, this is for 11, and I just want to cover up as much of this as possible. Release Attention is a great card. Let's just start with Tunic Crown and see what we find. We can kind of go from there. Like, my hand, like, I'm probably looking at throw Debilitate or like throw Cranial Crush here. So like if I block, I mean, I have no reason, like there's nothing I'm scared of here. I can just go to 23. I'm still up 10 points. We'll just throw Cranial Crush here. I mean, we're attacking for 8 when our opponent's at 13. Like, feels like a pretty good line of play to me. Release Attention is really good at pushing damage through. I'm a big fan of that card if you're playing Ranger. Take 5. Cool. Sounds good to me. The only thing to fear is fear itself. I mean, sometimes it is an extremely accurate statement. So we have pitch Chokeslam. We can pitch Chokeslam, or I guess. Now we're gonna keep 2 blues. So I guess we're just gonna pitch Chokeslam here to. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we block Brothers in Arms. So we're taking 3 here, which means we're going to go to 20, and then we're going to take 1 more off of playing our Spinal Crush and go to 19. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessary to block with our Ironhide legs yet. I think I would rather save that for something that feels more relevant. Plus, throwing Spinal Crush when you're up 11 points is pretty backbreaking. I was like, let's refresh. What do we play? Codex of Bloodrot? So I put a card from my hand into my arsenal. Is that what this card says? Face down into my arsenal. I mean, I guess we want to keep Glacial Footsteps in our deck. Spire Sniping is probably not the card my opponent's going to throw at us. I don't think that's the thing that he's trying to intimidate me with, is a Spire Sniping, but you never know. If my opponent does throw a Spire Sniping at us, then I feel pretty comfortable with... So... I mean, that feels pretty good. I guess I can't... No, Dreadbore's not active this turn, so I can... Or no, it just says arrows you have. So yeah, it doesn't matter if it's activated or not. But I can block with Ironhide Legs and Crater Fist here if I want to. Hits a Seek and Destroy, so... I mean, it's throw 4 or block 2 by paying for the Pox token, so I'm going to throw 4 here. I'm up 14 points on my opponent, who is at 5. There would be some consideration to me paying 2 here if my opponent was, like, at 15. I think that would be a much higher consideration for me, but I think having the Staunch Response is very good. Those sigils are not what I would call great. My opponent plays a Seek and Destroy. Wow. So 5, 6, 9, 12, 15. Crazy parts, if I had really anything to go along with this, this would be pretty sweet. I mean, it's not dominated, so let's see what we can find. Shoo! Yeah, I mean, we block 9, take 6, go to 11, and then we'll go back to 14 here as an instant, and then I'm going to arsenal the other Sigil of Solace. Keeping on an arsenal. Well, I guess we can't keep an arsenal, can we? Because of the seek and destroy. Well, it's a good thing we're not going to take one because this is an instant. So I'm glad I didn't play myself too much right there. Obviously, it's good that I'm getting games in with Oldhim before I go back to before I go to this tournament. Put target attack action card would cost 1 or less from your graveyard on top of your deck. Probably going to pick Remorseless here. If I had to guess. Remorseless is a very good card against Oldhim when you're playing Ranger. Specifically Azalea. Yeah, I have nothing to seek and destroy here. Codex of Blood Rot. I mean, do we not discard a card? No, you just put a card into your arsenal, that's it? I mean, I'd call that a win for us right now. The way the game's going, I'd call that a win. So, what do we have? 5 dominate? That's it? Well, joke's on them. We can block 5. Let's block 4, 5, and then like Crown Soak. We'll let Crown Soak. I'm going to pitch the Autumn's Touch for Hammer here. They have to give us a card. They're now out of equipment. They use their equipment, their Cross Wrap and their Tunic pretty early here. So my opponent's going to go to 2. I'm not going to heave. Well, I mean, 1, because I can't. But I'm also not going to pay for the Pox token. Depending on what my opponent does here, I'm just going to Rouse. Ooh, that's pretty good. So this is for 8. So let's say I take 8 and go to 7 here. What is this? Half rounded up. So Rouse is for 4, and then Thunderquake is for 8. So I get to have a 12-point turn, and I go to 8 here. The base of their first attack is halved, rounded up. Fatigue won't affect the Rouse? Oh my gosh, I was literally about to ask that question. Oh my gosh. Board Game Rave, I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you. You just bailed us out of what was all, like, I was literally getting ready to Google, does this work this way? And YouTube chat coming in clutch. Yep, that's fine. So I go to 5 here. All good to go. Well, I appreciate it, man. That's so good. This is so good. Oh my gosh, the value. I'm going to have to clip this moment so I can go back and watch this later. What a legend. Are you going to the WKNDS event with Oldhim? I'm not sure what WKNDS is. I'm going to a Realms game tournament this weekend. About 3 hours from me in North Carolina. Yeah, it's this weekend. I was like, if you're talking about the Realms game tournament this weekend, then yeah, I'm going to that this weekend. I'm playing Oldhim this weekend. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Are you playing there this weekend? I was like, I assume if you know about it, you're a local in some fashion. My opponent's at 1 and like has no physical way of blocking this out unless they had like 2-0 for 4 defense reactions. All right, well, we just kind of ran our opponents over. Nope, I'm stuck working. We'll be rooting for you. Excited to hear how it goes. Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm sorry you're stuck working. Dude, like, nothing feels worse than when, like, when you get stuck working, like, and you can't go play cards. I spent so many years of college trying to play Magic and, like, trying to, like grind events, and like I could just not go because I was stuck like at work over the weekend, and I just like, so I feel that on a personal level, my man. What am I playing against? Icelander? Hey. I assume it's correct to go first against Icelanders so they can't set up, but I'm honestly not sure. AB, I guess a Nothos. If it's good enough for Nick Butcher, I guess it's good enough for me. Yeah, I would love to be like Michael Hamilton and play cards for work, lol, and retire. Dude, that's the dream, man. Like, I 100% feel you on that. It is without a doubt the dream is to just play cards full time. It's what I want to do one day too. So I hear you, man. I mean, I think we just want to cut. I don't want Remembrance. I don't want Staunches, and I don't want Sinks or Fates. A lot of people have been on these like Eisenloft Weathervanes or Eisenhow Weathervane lists. So I don't know if that's what our opponent's looking for. But even if they are on Bullander, we block pretty efficiently. And I definitely want to leave the sigils in. So we'll just run the 62 card special here. I mean, Rouse into Arsenal Cranial Crush seems not bad. I hate that Hammer won't be for... I hate that Hammer won't be for 6. Hammer's only going to be for 4 here, but I mean... I think it's fine, so... Takes 2. Okay. So they gave us their power cards there. That feels pretty good. They are playing Wounded Bull, which is important to keep in mind. Okay. So I can AB1 here, take 4, and then pay 2 with my Thunderquake, and then I can pitch Spinal Sigil to play Command and Conquer. I mean, it's not the best play in the world, but yeah, we'll pay the 2. I think this is our best play here. And I mean, we're just gonna take this 2. Like, this is just gonna be a flat out race. I hate to pitch my sigil this way, but we do give them a lot of value to... We do give them a big turn here where they're aware that the shields are down and they can kind of do whatever they want, but... Okay, so they Arsenal to red. They Arsenal to attack or another, like, Ether Ice Vein of some effect. Block, Pulverize, Crater Fist, take 3. Or, I'm sorry, take 2. Go to 32. And then start with Zealous and the Hammer. I mean, we get to... We're blocking 5 and serving 11. It's a 16-point turn. It's not too bad. I mean, I guess we're blocking 3 and serving 11, so it's 14 points. I can't really count the Crater Fist as points towards my hand. I feel like I kind of start cheating the ratios of the game when I do things like that. I'm always like, oh my gosh, my hand was cracked. When it's like, my hand was... I mean, 14 points is a very good turn, but it's not 16 points, though. That's for sure. So we go up 3 points, which we start the game up 4 points, which means we're really down 1 point is how I see it. If you're tied with Icelander, the longer the game goes on, you are losing. And anybody who plays a lot of Icelander who has played a lot of Icelander will tell you the same thing. This card right here called Storm Striders will end the game, will end a close game in a second. I think that's a good block from our opponent. Yeah, got a hair in my mouth. Ugh. Let's start with Tunic Crown and see what we find. So... We get to block 6 and take nothing here. So we block Spinal, Endless Winter. Or am I blocking Spinal, Disable? So if I block Spinal, Disable, pitch the Rouse to play the Anothos, and then I Arsenal the Endless Winter because I'm going to play Sigil, I think that's fine. I get to take nothing, and I get to... So... Blocking 6 and swinging 4. It's definitely what I would call a lackluster turn. Maybe I should have held the Sigil on my turn and played around whatever they did here, but I think playing any Sigil you can against Icelander puts you in a better spot. Icelander has a lot easier time beating Oldhim than it does beating Bravo, at least in my opinion. Icelander really struggles into Bravo from my experience. Now, that could be because I'm skill gapping people, but that's definitely how it's felt. Intertesting. So much for... so much for... playing Rouse into... We could have played Zealous Belting into Endless Winter there if we'd have been able to like block with one card, and I probably would have taken some damage to make that play. This is also still a pretty good play. I mean, we take 1, go to 34, and then I get to test my opponent's hand. Ah, wrong thing. We're going to pitch the Macho Grande because we can play Buckling Blow off of Tunic and 1 card next turn, depending on what they have. Zealous Belting already making our Icelander matchup better. And don't get me wrong, like, Respite would be pretty good here, but we're also playing the Pummels to play, like, in place of Respite, so it's not like we'd have just had that. Block 6. Take 1. I go to 33. Throw Hammer for 4. And then, I don't know if they try to do like some AB shenanigans. I was like, I can just pitch my Terrace Under if I need to, or use my Tunic. Although, admittingly, I would like to keep my Terrace Under here. Terrace Under Hammer is a great play. And they're forced to give me Coronet Peak if they want to stop it. More than likely. I mean, there's always some like off chance they've arsenaled a Sink Below, but I'm banking that that's not the case. So they're going to play Blue Ether Ice Vein, and then they're going to play, and then they're going to pitch their Channel Lake to play Waning Moon more than likely, because Channel Lake virtually does nothing in this matchup. So what is the play here? All right, hear me out. This is going to sound a little wild, but here is a line we could take. I could say take 2, discard Sigil of Solace, take 2 from the Waning Moon, go to 29, and I can pitch Macho Grande to play Zealous Belting. If they don't give me a Frostbite, I can then play my Endless Winter off of the Mulch. It's a little greedy, and maybe it's just how this matchup's supposed to be played. The other option is play Sigil, so the other option is pitch Macho Grande, AB1, pay 2. I'm going to tell my opponent I'm thinking because I understand not everybody. So let's see. We pitch Macho Grande. We AB2 with Counting Crown. We pay 2. So we take 1, go to 32. And then we go to 30. And then we get to swing 6. So we take we take 1 less point and we throw 6. Or we take 1 more point and we throw 11. But we also get to gain 3, so it's a 9-point. It's a 10-point turn versus an 11-point turn, if you count the sigil. So it is technically better to AB nothing, discard our sigil, which feels weird and wrong, and then take the Waning Moon here. Yeah. Be greedy? Well, you definitely said the right thing there, because that was about the greediest thing I've done in a long time. Nom nom nom. That was the greediest thing I've done in a long time, especially playing Icelander, or playing Oldhim. Oldhim is not a greedy deck. Oldhim is not something that you really want to be greedy with. You have to, like, really take your spots when you're going to be greedy. But we had a pretty good turn, so I'm not going to complain. Just E-Strike for 7. So I can block 5, swing hammer for 4, or I can... So block 5, swing hammer for 4 is 9, or I can block 3 with the disable, and then swing hammer for 10 with the pummel. So that's a 13-point turn versus a 9-point turn. I mean... yeah. We're just gonna take 4 here, like... Oh, maybe this is how this matchup is played nowadays. I honestly, I don't know. And I say that from the aspect of, after watching Nick Butcher play this on camera in the top 8, it was a wild thing to witness, actually. I was not prepared for it. So we take 8 and throw 11, or so we can block nothing and throw 11, which means our hand is worth 11 points. Or we can block 3 and throw 10 again, which means our hand is worth 13 points. And I'm sorry, a lot of these things may be obvious to you guys, like as you're talking through them, but I've learned that the more I talk out loud about these things while I'm playing games, the better off that I do. Especially while I'm streaming. I feel like it's also like, it gives you guys an idea of like what's going through my head. What am I thinking about? Like, things like that. Scary part is like, I'm now at 20, which means if I take much more, I'm in range of being killed here. I mean, go to 17, throw Spinal Crush. And I can AB 1 here if they do stuff on my turn. Although my opponent has not done stuff on my turn almost religiously, so they have played this like very well from what I would say their point of view is here. So use Tunic for Brother in Arms. Block 4, take 3, go to 14. Endless Winter, Heart of Fiendel. And I have 2 resources up to AB with. I think that's a better play because I'm leaving resources up to AB. I could also just block 5 and then throw Endless Winter. So I go to 15 and I still get to throw 8. They can't kill me from 15 without the Metacarpus node. Here's a new plan. I'm going to block 3, take 4, go to 13, which means they definitely can kill me. And then I'm going to use Tunic to throw Endless Winter here. Now they can respond to this if they want. But I'm going to throw Endless Winter, and I'm going to try to Arsenal a card here, because I think I have to get back on an Arsenal if I'm going to win this game at some point. I just don't think it can really happen realistically without me being on an Arsenal. Look, oh my gosh, there is a Psyduck. That's awesome. For anybody who doesn't know, Psyduck is my favorite Pokemon, like, of all time. Psyduck is my boy. So he does have the Emeritus Scolding. I see this as no different than my opponent just simply flipping a card up on the table. So a lot of people would say, oh, like, you can't play like you know what that is, but I most definitely can. So I could go to 9 here. Yeah, I think I need to pitch that. All right, I'm basically saying kill me here. I mean, not really, because he has a lot of equipment left he can use, but my opponent could very potentially kill me here. Going to 7 is so scary. So here's the question. I can go to 7 and hope that he can't kill me from here. He'd have to, so he has to block with a card, which is 5, 3, 5. Take 3, go to 1. I think I have to go to 7 here and keep my card. He has a Sink Below in hand? He has to. I was like, it has to be his last Sink Below. There's no other reason he does this. Now, this is really bad for me. I don't know that there's really a great option here. Let's think about our lines here. So I can Crown of Seeds, AB1. Let's see what we draw here. So I'm actually man, this is probably wildly wrong, but I'm gonna take a chance because I think I gotta kill my opponent here, or I'm just gonna die. Like I'm at the verge of just dying here, and I just need my opponent to not have it here, which is a pretty bad spot to be in against Icelander. I have played against Icelanders few and far between times where they've just not had it. Most of the time, they just have it. Which, I mean, it's fine. Like, you know, you play these cards to draw them, and even if I lose here, like, it is what it is. I'm not really upset about it, you know? I can only do what I can do, and I can only look back on this game and go, here's where I could have done better, here's where I could have done worse. Am I lagging? Is it me? No, my opponent's counting. If they're anything like me when they play Icelander, this is like when I get to this point in the game, I'm always like, okay, count everything like twice, if not 3 times, to make sure that you have lethal. Because if not, you're going to do something stupid and you're going to get yourself put in a bad spot. Okay. I mean, if they go for the Stormstrider's play, then they have me here. I don't know. I'm really hoping that Block Tunic. Interesting. So I can't pummel here. Like, I just can't pummel here from where I'm at because a blue kills me. Actually, anything kills me. A red kills me because if I tap out and I have no resources here, then their waning moon just kills me. Yeah, that's just really bad for me. Like, as much as I wanted to play that right there, I just can't. And now I'm at 1, which means anything in waning moon kills me. Yeah, I'm just dead here. They played the game very well. Like, I tip my hat to my opponent. I made a couple of greedy decisions, and they ended up winning because of it. Yeah, I was like, there's no way you can't kill me here, dude. Like, you have to be able to do something here to kill me. Yeah. I guess they were playing around respite. I guess like that was their line, was to play around respite right there. Because I mean, a lot of Oldhims do have respite in their list. I'm just like, I don't have it. I cut it for the extra pummels, and it probably ended up costing me the game there. I mean, that pummel in my arsenal would have been insanely good as like a respite, but also the pummel is just like insane value. So I don't know. It's hard to like. I had to go for the pummel there. I spent too many turns off of an arsenal, and I don't know that really cost me the game. I don't really know what me winning that game looks like. I was very ahead for quite a while. Like, I was up 11 life at one point and just ended up not being able to get there. I also think that one of the interesting things, like, if you guys watched the Singapore calling from this past weekend, Nick Butcher, when he played against Icelander in the top 8, I think it was the semifinals, I think it was the top 4, when he played against Icelander in the top 4, Icelander popped their Storm Striders on turn 0 or like turn 1, and I can't sit and tell anybody that I agree with that. I mean, that's a wild play. Like, I dare say, if my opponent doesn't have Storm Stars at the end of the game, I win that game. But, I mean, there's never a world where I'm playing around them not having something good there. So I haven't played against an Icelander in so long. Honestly, Icelander's probably going to pick up in popularity. Icelander's probably going to be one of those decks that picks up a lot with like it top 8ing in Singapore. People are going to be very intrigued to play it. Another Azalea, huh? Why can't I submit a deck? Oh, it's waiting on my opponent to decide who's going to go first or second. They're going to go first. I think that's a good decision. Dreadbore, Rustling Leaves. Okay, so it means they're not worried about getting fatigued. Which, I mean, I don't hate that plan. Like, sometimes you just gotta like try to run me over. Now, is that a consistent plan? Absolutely not. There's no place in the world where that's a consistent plan, in my opinion. This Dreadbore New Horizon deck is very scary. I think I'm just gonna throw Chokeslam at them. here, like, seems like a pretty good play. They'll give me at least one card to stop the on-hit effect here, or to stop the crush effect, and then we'll arsenal our staunch response. They'll probably just leave Memorial Ground face up for a while until they actually need it for something. So this is drill shot for 10, which means I'm just going to play my staunch response. Yeah, I mean, seems like the obvious play here. Just play staunch response from Arsenal and do some work here. So saving the staunch response was actually super value instead of saving the sink below. I mean, granted, we still could have covered this up here. Like, it's not like we couldn't do it. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pitch the Endless Winter too. We're going to go Autumn's Touch, Grande, Endless Winter. So Endless Winter is going to be the first card of our second hand. Our second cycle pitch stacked hand. Azaleas into a premeditate and then passes. It's a very interesting line. Will hammer for 4. I'm honestly just going to play the pummel here. Like, I'm just going to take the opportunity to play it and push some damage through. Oh, they're on Fate for Scenes? Okay, I saw this. I actually saw somebody doing this in Singapore. I saw, I think it was an Azalea player, or maybe it was a Lexi player. They were playing, Fate for Scenes and some stuff like that, like defense reactions. Good lord, does this thing have enough text here? Destroy target Kadachi. Nobody cares about that. I do get to look at my hand and put a card on the bottom. Does this thing have Dominate? I think they Azalea'd this into their... Right? I think they Azalea'd this. I hate that it doesn't tell me beforehand. Like, obviously it shows me all the game actions, but I wish it would tell me all of the text on the card before we got into this. Yeah. So we can cover 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can almost cover it up. So we're going to go Command and Conquer, Rampart, Fate for Scene. Yeah, I mean, I can't stop the on hit here. Like, I don't think it's physically possible for me to stop the on hit, so. And Crown's actually going to do less work. So we'll just go to 36 here. Like, they get a 6-card hand, and good for them, but at the same time, like, it doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so whatever they drew, they didn't want Arsenal, so it's possible they drew Eye of Ophidia here. So we're going to go Sink Below Chokeslam, and then I'm going to go Sink Below Chokeslam in the order they go on the bottom of my deck. You know, looking back on it, I really wonder if the play that cost me the game, or that cost me the Icelander game, was not playing my Sigil. Oh, they did draw Eye of Ophidia. Nice. The play that maybe cost me the game against Icelander was me not playing my Sigil of Solace and just like trying to AB some stuff out and blocking more effectively. So what is this for 10? So this is 10 dominate. So I'm just going to play Staunch, pitch Heart, and Autumn's Touch. Like, again, I've made 2 decisions to keep my Staunch responses, and it's felt so good. Man, Red Staunch response is just so good in this matchup. It's just so good. And on my turn, I'm just going to play Sigil. I'm going to go Autumn's Touch then Heart. Heart's not necessarily something I want to draw super regularly. We're going to go back to 39, and then I'm just going to Arsenal this. We're going to... I mean, we need to try and get some offense going here, but again, I'm up 10 points. I'm up 13 cards. I just need to try and, you know, you just got to, like, stay the course and keep at it. So, this is for 7. We want to keep Glacial in our deck. So for 7 dominate, I can Winter's Grasp, so Crown, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They might be playing Rain Razors. And honestly, to keep my Rampart, maybe I'm supposed to give them Legs and Crater Fist here to play around the Rain Razors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If they have 2 Rain Razors, there's nothing I can do about it. I honestly think that's the play. And I know some people, like, whether you end up watching this game, you know, live, or whether you end up watching it on YouTube, or like whether you end up like watching the VOD or whatever, like, I definitely think that that's correct. Drill Shot is one of the cards that can just end the game very quickly. We'll use Tunic here, and we'll come in with Debilitate. Getting to throw a 6-coster here that also has the -2 effect is really good. Like, they have a Fate Foreseen. That's fine. That's a card they're not attacking me with. Like, when they're committing to playing a line like that, it means that they're committing to not attacking me with another card. And as far as I'm concerned, that's okay with me. So what? This is 8. Dominate. There's no way for me to play the Pummel here, so let's pitch the card we want to keep in our deck. Heat Seeker, so we can block 1, 2, 5. 1, Crown is 1, Rampart's 2, Mulch is 5. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. If I want to give them Tunic, so I'm still 1 short of stopping the Heat Seeker trigger, which means I think I'm just gonna go this and take 6. I think that's my line. There's no like Seek and Destroys or like, you know, release attentions. There's like nothing really crazy here. I'm gonna throw Spinal because if they have a defense reaction, I was like, they'll give me Perch Grapplers and defense reaction here. But if not, they're just going to give us 2 cards. 2 cards and take 3. That's an exchange I'm okay making, honestly. Ooh, what are you going to put on top? Because I have Endless Winter Pummel. So, let's talk about what you have. Stop it. Stop it! So this is for 7, Dominate. Hiss. So, is giving up my Rampart here worth Endless Winter Pummel? Because I can go Crown, 3 block from hand. So we pitch Crown, right? All right, so we pitch Terrace Under to Crown. Crown, Rampart is 1, 2, card from hand is 5, 6, 7. I have to give up Tunic to do it. but I get to save my rampart. I mean, I think we should take the safer play here. I'm going to have to hope that they don't have... Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so I'm going to have to hope that they don't have a Rain Razors here. If they have Rain Razors here, we gave up a very good power, like a big, like what I would call a power turn to try and block out their turn, and it was met poorly. Now, let's see. How many drill shots have they played? They've played 2 drill shots. They've tried hard to get our Rampart, but we gave up Tunic to keep Rampart, which I think is worth. I could go pitch Endless Winter, Debilitate to Hammer for 4, and then Arsenal Rouse. Or I can just throw Endless Winter. Endless Winter's a good card, and I think it has a relevant effect. Is it like Spinal Crush or Command and Conquer level effect? No, absolutely not. But it is a very good card, and it does have a lot of value. Gonna give me Perch Grapplers now? No, you're just gonna take 2? And just commit to getting a Frostbite? I mean... Play Remembrance does not seem great. I mean, it doesn't seem bad or anything, but also they're probably not gonna win the game with Remembrance. I mean, I don't know. They could. Those 3 extra arrows could be relevant enough to matter. It's hard to say. I don't know. I've fatigued so many Rangers at this point. I've just kind of become numb to the whole situation. Zealous Belting into Hammer. All right. Well, we put some pressure on. We have a decent throwback turn here. I mean, Deadeye is very good. Did they just blind Azalea there? They did blind Azalea. Bold move, Belichick. Throw it to the wide open Gronk. So... I really need to hope I draw blue here. Melting Point. This does not have an aim counter on it. Or Deadeye's the one I care about. But this does not have an aim counter on it. All right, let's hope we draw blue here. So that we can still just pitch a card and play Crown. Oh my gosh. This is hysterically bad. Yeah, this is not good. This is not what I would call a good hand. Now, if the pummel had been a blue, it would have been a lot better for us because we could just pitch the blue, play Command and Conquer, Arsenal Fate Foreseen. So the problem, the worst part here about throwing Command and Conquer and not having an Arsenal is that they can give us a card, Hornet Sting, and Perch Grapplers. Now, they chose not to make that decision, but it is something they could have done. I mean, we're just going to block 4 because we can. We'll take 1. Not that, the extra... not that the effect is relevant. It's more about just, blocking out what I can here. Our opponents played this matchup before, I can tell, just based off the way they're like playing the game. Like they're clearly a very competent Azalea player. Oh god. All right, so they're gonna get our Rampart here. It looks like there's really nothing we can do to stop it, which is fine. Like, that happens. Normally, like, it's happened later in the game, which has been nice, because I'm pretty sure this is dominated unless I'm going crazy. Yeah, so we get to block Pulverize. Rampart, so we're currently blocking 4. Or I'm sorry, we're currently blocking 5. Because this only blocks for 2, because I'm a schmuck. Oh no, this doesn't have an aim counter. Woo! Thank God. So I can block 6 or throw 4 here. I can make it to where I block 2 extra points, which means I take 4, go to 21. Let's play defensively here. I think that's fine. Like my gut is telling me to play more defensively here. They have some power cards that we really need to play around. Now they get our Rampart, which is pretty backbreaking. We gave up our Tunic to keep our Rampart. So it's not like that's for nothing. Just gonna play Sigil and go to 24. I'm pretty sure that's our last Sigil. It is. Okay, so we have used all of our life gain. We're at 24 now. I mean, they haven't played a single Codex yet, which is a little frightening. Codex is one of those cards that you have to be ready to play around. Codex is like very scary and very powerful. It's honestly one of the scariest cards for Oldhim. The 2 scariest cards in this matchup, in my opinion, are Dreadbore and Codex of Frailty. Now, they are pitching their Codexes together. I mean, I can block Buckling Blow and just throw Spinal Crush here. So, they didn't really have any pumps that turn. But they do have a 6-card hand now, which means so now here we go. They're feeling it now. Premeditate? Okay, so if they don't have any pumps, they can Azalea into some pumps here, which is pretty good for them. Can you activate? You may put an arrow card. Okay, cool. So he can activate that. It's just like Death Dealer. He's gonna knock. What are we knocking for? It's so much fun that Kick has a Psyduck emote that, like, really makes me like Kick that much more. Not that I was, like, on the anti-Kick train. I'm obviously streaming on Kick, so I like it somewhat. Battering Bolt. Lace with Blood Rot. Sheesh. So this is 12 Dominate. So we're going to go Sync and Brothers in Arms, take 4, and throwing Command and Conquer just does not feel very good here. So maybe we just hammer, or maybe the 6 points from Command and Conquer is just worth it. Or maybe I'm just supposed to put the Command and Conquer on the bottom of my deck with the Sink below here. That's probably what I'm supposed to be doing. We'll go Sink below, put this on the bottom. See, and we were immediately rewarded for a good decision. Now, again, we're up 7 points. And the option is Oh, oh my gosh. The Fate Foreseen got discarded off the Battering Bolt. I wasn't even thinking about that. So now, not only... Man, so am I throwing Hammer here? Going to 17? I think I am. I think I'm going to 17, throwing Hammer, and continuing to put the pressure on them. They have 19 cards in their deck, and... Like, I think the closer I get them to 0 is better for me. Gosh, this would be such a good hand. Like, if I didn't have to block and this hand had Tunic on it, this hand would be... There'd be so much value in this. How on God's green earth is this for 9? Okay, so... We're going to block 3, go to 11. We're going to throw Hammer for 4. My opponent takes that. Yes, we'll pay for the first one. No, we won't pay for the second one. 2/2 blocks in one hand is not where you want to be at. Okay, my opponent Dreadbores. So this is for 9. Not dominated. Okay. Did they Azalea that this turn? I guess they did. I don't know. It feels like we're not going to cross the finish line this game if you guys want the truth. Like, this is seeming kind of rough. I'm not really sure where I'm going wrong in my decision-making process, if I'm being honest with you guys. Like, and I know that if I'm losing to these matchups, like, that it's my fault. Like, Oldhim is just too good. Like, are there some games that I probably can't do anything about it? Sure. But if I'm losing, it's more than likely my fault. Which means before this weekend, I'm going to have to go back and watch these games and try to have a better understanding of where my mistakes are. Pitch Macho Grande. And then Autumn's Touch. Take 3. Man. Yeah, this is not looking good at all. 4, 5, 6. So I'm taking 3 here. Shoo! Now, the good news is that my opponent probably doesn't have many go again arrows. Problem is, they still have pumps in their deck. They have... How are there still Remorseless in your deck? That is like literally the 5th Remorseless he's thrown at me, and he hasn't played a single Codex. I don't understand how there's still a Remorseless left in that guy's deck. I think I'm just dead here, because this is dominated. Yeah, Memorial grounds that to the top. I have to say, made my opponent earn every point of this one. So, block 3, 4, 5, 6, take 5, and then die. And then if I could play my Sink Below, I'd be okay, but Dreadbore was just too much. Yeah, I'm not sure where I went wrong there. I'm not sure what happened. Like, so again, I'm going to go back to, like, if I'm losing, it's me. Oldham's too good for it not to be me, for me to just say I'm losing because of Oldhim. Like, there's no way. I've played too much Oldhim over the last, like, 2 months, and, like, when I'm playing well, and, like, when I'm at the top of my game, like, the Oldhim deck is just, like, it's so easy to win with the deck. Like, you have to play well and make good decisions. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the deck's easy or anything, but well, 1 and 2 is not the start I had in mind, but need to shake off the rust now before this weekend. The more games I play tonight, the more I'm just kind of like, wow, thank God I decided to play that. I almost didn't play Oldhim tonight. I thought about playing. I've been working on a Fatigue Briar deck, which I know like that sentence doesn't really sound normal, but I have been working on a Fatigue Briar deck, which I think is going to be kind of fun. I don't really know if it'll be like hyper competitive or anything, but I'm basically trying to make Briar Oldhim is what I'm trying to accomplish, but we'll see how that ends up going before it's all said and done with. Oh, man. I'm also like, the more I'm playing, I'm like, man, is all 3 pummels correct? Like, is there ever a world where like all 3 pummels are right? So like, oh, we get to play against Icelander again. But I'm like, there were so many times when I was playing 1 pummel that I was like, man, having another pummel would just be so good for me. Like, it just feels like it would be so good. Like, there'd be so much value in that. I don't know, like, maybe having all 3 pummels isn't right. Like, maybe you just don't want all of them. Maybe it's too much. Like, maybe you want to be on 2. Maybe I want to be on 2 pummels and a respite. I don't know. Like, 2 pummels could be fine. I know a lot of people that, like, know me and know, like, what I've been playing know that I'm only on 1 pummel, so me playing 2 pummels is also kind of like a surprise factor for like a lot of like my friends and like just the guys that I know that'll be playing this weekend. So I mean, they might also like watch the stream and be like, you're not pulling anything over on me. Like, it's also not very hard. Like, if you're trying to find like my deck list, it's also not very hard to like find my list. I'm pretty open with the cards that I play and like what I change and things like that. Hey, just 31. Hello, how are you? I mean, I'm pretty open with like the cards that I play and the changes that I make. I mean, I share everything that I do and change with the team, obviously. Like, that's the point of the team, in my opinion. I'm not hedging to beat people on my team, so like I share with them everything that I'm doing. But I'm pretty open with most people. Like, if you ask, I'll share my deck list with you. I'm not one of those people that like I think I need that edge or anything. And not to sound like super arrogant or anything. I just like, I don't know, like I believe that when you practice and you have a good plan, that, you know, if you put that plan into effect, you will be rewarded for practicing, whether your opponent knows what's coming or not. Good. I've been checking this category almost every day, waiting for someone to go live. So, my dude, I 100% understand that. I check the card games section of Kick all the time, looking for people that are playing card games, hoping that I find somebody that's playing Flesh and Blood, because that's like Flesh and Blood's like my favorite card game. So I completely understand where you're at, dude. I love showing my decks and synergies. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Are you like, do you play a lot of Flesh and Blood, or do you play other card games, like, and you just happen to like watching different card games in general? Oh, everybody keeps saying that I'm playing Oldhim and then leaves. I mean, so like, I don't blame them. They don't want to have to play against like they don't want to have to play against Oldhim. I think it's better to go first against Bravo. I mean, they don't want to have to like play against a deck that's already rotated out of the format. And like, I understand that. I don't want Vambrace. I want Crater Fist, and I want Rampart and Titan's Fist. I'm losing my mind here. So honestly, this is one of those matchups I take out the sigils, and man, part of me wants to take out their Remembrance, but Remembrance is also a very key part of the strategy here. I don't know. Like, I kind of like Remembrance. Like, I don't know. Let's try it without Remembrance. Let's see what happens. I'm not really like getting decked or anything. My problem is flipping the game. That's generally been my problem with like this matchup so far. So I don't know. We'll try it without Remembrance and see what happens here. I play Vanquishers TCG, but love to watch any. It's still a vibe that you can't get from video games. That is very accurate. It is definitely a vibe that you cannot get from like other games. So I completely agree with that. Vanquishers TCG, that sounds super familiar to me. Is that like a dice game? Like, am I thinking of the right thing? Is it a dice game? Skullcap, Tech Plating, Vambrace, Legs. That's spicy. The fact that they're on Skullcap, that's a spicy meatball right there. I'm intrigued by the fact that they're playing Skullcap. So they're gonna heave Pulverize here. This is not looking good. I mean, if they can dominate it, that's a problem. Let's do this. Let's try this. Use dice for targeting your enemy, but I've heard it plays a little like Fab, hero versus hero. Oh, okay, that's fair. So I think the guys that actually created the game, like that created Vanquishers TCG, I think they actually raided my channel one night, unless I'm going completely crazy, which is very possible. But I think they actually raided my channel one night and was telling me about the game. And I remember I checked it out. I actually checked out their like website and like their Kickstarter. Yeah, they rated me on Twitch. This was like, this might have been like close to a year ago. This was like when I started playing Flesh and Blood. But yeah, they rated me on Twitch one night, and they, I remember I think it was the guys who like created the game, and they were telling me about the game, and it sounded like a lot of fun. But I told them, I was like, you know, guys, as much as I'd love to get into another card game, like one expensive hobby is enough for me. But like, card games are very expensive. And while you can turn around and like sell, things, like, and I do understand that, it's also like hard to sell cards and do things like that. So yeah, they are awesome dudes. Oh, do you know them? Like do you actually like know the guys who created that game? Because that's pretty cool if you do. Lol, I feel you on that. Yeah, card games are expensive. I was like, anybody who plays card games enough understands that. So they have exactly enough to dominate a Pulverize here. So let's start where anybody would. Yeah, I mean, we're going to pay for this, and then I'm going to play Sink Below, and I'm going to put the Endless Winter on the bottom. I mean, I could keep the Endless Winter and throw Endless Winter for 4 here, and then Arsenal my Fate Foreseen. Like, maybe that's a better play. I don't, like, it just feels lackluster to me, if you want the truth. So I take 8 and basically have no turn. But I do get to arsenal my Macho Grande and then leave up my Fate Foreseen in my hand. Throwing an early Pulverize is just such a good way to like get tempo early game. I found the game and saw they were local in my area. We play at the LGS once a week. Oh, dude, that's awesome. That's a really cool story, dude. That's awesome. Where are you from? Are you like from in the States, or like was the game founded outside of the States? Or sorry, not to be like too nosy or picky or anything. They are super community driven. Dude, that's awesome. That's like one of the coolest things you can hear about any card game, in my opinion. So this is gonna be for 7. I mean, I guess let's just start here. Let's just Tunic Crown to start. From Florida? Oh, okay, that's cool. That's awesome. I'm from Tennessee, so I'm a little north of you, but we're on the same side of the country. 7. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 7. So block here. Fate Foreseen, or I guess I should block with. Sorry, I need to block with Vambrace 2 here. Or I need to block with Rampart here as well. So that means I'm just supposed to 1, 2, 3. I'm just supposed to do this and use my equipment here. Nice, I have family in Tennessee. Oh, that's cool, man. And then this way, if they do decide to activate Vambrace, I don't have to take the hit. I don't want to rely on Tunic trying to bail me out, or on Crown trying to bail me out. Now, me doing this does give them the option to just arsenal their last card. Victory Screech! Hey! I appreciate the follow, brother. So I can throw Cranial Crush for 8 here and take off an Arsenal turn, which can get me in trouble because Bravo plays on movables. And they still have all of their equipment block here, which is tough, but weird that they blocked with tech plating. That's like super weird to me, but I mean, to each their own. This definitely feels like a pummel here. What program are you using? Do you mean like what am I playing Flesh and Blood through? Is that what you mean? I honestly think I'm just supposed to take this. And when they have the pummel, I'm just going to go to 22 and discard my mulch. Yeah, there it is. Yes. Oh, yeah. So it's called talishar.net. And if you're familiar with Flesh and Blood at all, it's spelled just like the weapon, Talishar, TALISHAR.net. So it's not even like a it's not even like something you have to download. It's just a web browser, which is pretty cool because I come from like playing Magic where like you have to have something downloaded to play the game. So it's a very nice change of pace to just be able to open up a website and just play a quick game or two. So, is it Fab's own site or is it another CCG's? So it's not technically Flesh and Blood site because the creators of Flesh and Blood, the Legend Story Studios, like we all call them LSS for short, they don't want there to be an online client because James White, he's the creator of the game, says that he wants it, like it's called Flesh and Blood because he wants you to be playing in the Flesh and Blood. But they kind of allow this site to run without anybody really saying anything because they understand that there are just a lot of people in the world who can't always make it to like, they just can't make it like out to other events and things like that. So I think I'm just giving my opponent 3 cards here? Or am I giving my opponent Spinal, Disable Crater Fist, Heave Pulverize, and try to swing tempo this way? I mean, that's a hard way to do it, because it's still going to cost 7, but I will have Tunic up, which is nice. Which means I can keep 2 cards, which means I just need them not to draw like a Command and Conquer Pummel hand. I have to refresh to get rid of this. Yeah, it's tough, but I think I have to try and make a swing play here. Like, I think I have to... Actually, is it better just to throw Hammer, Arsenal to Pulverize, and then if I can play it, I play it? I think that's a better play. I think I'm setting myself up better to play the long game this way. So, when do you go live? I got to hit in the bed, but I'll definitely be back. Oh, well, man, I appreciate you stopping by and following and hanging out tonight. Most weeks I'm live on Tuesday and Thursday. From 7 to 10 ish, somewhere in that ballpark, Eastern time. And then I probably stream about one day on the weekends if I'm not out of town. I won't be this weekend because of Father's Day and card tournaments. But yeah, I'm live most weeks on Tuesday and Thursday. So if you want to come back and hang out, man, I'd love to have you. So, say no blocks, throw Pulverize, Arsenal Pummel, I think is our line. Something tells me they have like an unmovable or something. I really hope I'm wrong, but it's definitely what it feels like. Okay, happy Father's Day. I mean, I'm not a father, but I do appreciate it. I'm just going to hang out with my dad. If you are a father, happy Father's Day to you. Or if you're just hanging out with your dad, happy Father's Day to your father, man. I do appreciate it. Oh, definitely an unmovable from the Arsenal right here. Yep. Yep. Cranial, Buckling Blow, Chokeslam. So they Arsenal... Yeah, I was like, they definitely wanted to Arsenal that. Definitely a misclick by them. I am, thank you. Lol will for him then. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time, buddy. So, Debilitate for 6. Pummel, Arsenal Fate Foreseen. I'd much rather use Pummel on something that's relevant, but beggars can't be choosers. I'm down 4 points, and I'm actually not down cards now. I really don't think he was playing around the Pummel there. He probably can still throw his... He has triple blue. Yep. So we're going to go Fate, Sync, throw Command and Conquer, Arsenal, the Staunch Response. Yeah, this is pretty good. I really like this. I don't think there's a reason to put anything on the bottom. Like, we're not drawing to like a blowout draw or anything. I also like this because this is just 6 points. Like, Command and Conquer doesn't really have text here. It's just 6 and you can't play defense reactions, which kind of worth, honestly. Is my opponent just taking 6 here? Their hand must be stacked. And when I say stacked, if nothing else, I'm underselling it. Or not. So I'm gonna block disable here. When they go to play their pummel, and this goes to 10, I'm gonna pitch heart to play staunch response. And then I'm gonna, or that, I mean, if that's what they want to do, that's fine too. This is also fun because this makes them think I have pummel because I took damage to throw something back at them and I have tunic up. So like, okay, so maybe they just had a fate and a sink here. Okay, so they had 2 sinks. I mean, the funny part is like I could still just like maybe they had another defense reaction that I'm not thinking of. Like maybe they had another like a fate or something in their hand. I don't know. This hand's also sweet. Yeah, this hand's sweet because they're just gonna concede. Okay, yeah. I mean the game was over there because they were at 3, I was at 9. I was gonna throw mulch in front of this, and then I was gonna go pitch glacial footsteps for zealous belting and to use tunic for command and conquer. Like we had that game locked up right there. I'm pretty sure that was gonna end the game because that was gonna strip most of their hand. If not, I don't think it was gonna strip all of it, but it was gonna strip most of it. So it would have been pretty sweet right there for that to have gotten pushed through. Oh. All right. I'm going to take a break real quick. I'm going to run to the bathroom, fill up my water, and I'll be back like 2 or 3 minutes. Thanks for hanging out tonight, guys. All right. Short bathroom break. We're back. We're ready to go. We're playing Oldhim. 2-2. Lost to an Azalea and to an Icelander. So it's been an interesting night. I definitely have felt like I'm shaking the dust off tonight. As far as learning to Oldhim. Just for a minute here, while there's a break in the action, if you guys watch me on Twitch, one, I obviously I appreciate that a lot. But starting at the end of the month, I'm not going to be streaming on Twitch any longer. Twitch updated their guidelines and their policies to where you cannot multi-stream at all through Twitch. It used to be that you couldn't multi-stream through Twitch if you were affiliated with them. So I cut my affiliate program status with them, which was the only really source of revenue I was getting from them. So I cut that so that I could stream to a larger audience and hit multiple platforms like YouTube, Kick, Twitch, and Facebook. I just wanted to, be reaching as many people as possible because I love card games and I love interacting with all the different people who come and hang out in my streams, honestly. And so Twitch has now made it to where if you multi-stream at all, even if you're not affiliated with them in any way, they're going to ban your account. So that goes into effect July 1st. So at the end of the month, I'll be announcing it as we get closer to the end of the month. But my last stream on Twitch will be at the end of the month. So if you like my content, you want to support me, check me out on YouTube, check me out on Kick, Facebook, wherever. But check me out anywhere but Twitch. I'm going to keep streaming. It just won't be on Twitch. All right. So this should be a fun matchup. We want everything but the remembrance. And my opponent left. I mean, so again, we're in a world where I don't blame them because Oldhim doesn't really exist anymore if they're trying to prepare for nationals or something like that. But at the same time, I'm also playing a 1K this weekend. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Playing Oldhim. Need practice for tourney. I'm going to put this here because it'll pop up on the comp CC thing and people will see it. Lets everybody know what they're getting into ahead of time. So, I don't know. Kind of just like to give people a little bit of a fair warning. Also, if you're watching my stream on Kick, I really appreciate it. I haven't really seen anybody streaming card games because that's the category you have to stream Flesh and Blood in because it doesn't have its own category. I haven't really seen anybody streaming Flesh and Blood or like really any kind of card games on Kick. So, if you came by and are hanging out or watching me on Kick, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. I was just because I haven't seen anybody doing it. I do think it would be really cool to see Flesh and Blood have its own category one day. Flesh and Blood does not have its own category on any gaming platform, not on YouTube, not on Facebook, not on Twitch, not on Kick, not anywhere. So now that I have recently started streaming on Kick, this is stream number 6 for me on Kick. Now that I've started doing that, I am actually, I'm hoping that since I'm on the ground early enough and streaming Flesh and Blood on Kick, I'm hoping that I can be the reason that Kick makes Flesh and Blood its own category. I think that would be something really cool to say. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's pretty high aspirations. So we'll see what happens. Let's see if anybody's streaming card games on Kick. I don't normally when I pull up. Yeah, when you when I pull up when I pull up Kick on my browser and I look for card games. All I see is me streaming. I'm hoping that Kick picks up with more popularity the more time passes, and that there's more people streaming on here because I honestly think Kick has a lot of good things going for it right now. Especially with Twitch recently dropping the ball like they did with their new policy guidelines. If you guys aren't streamers and you guys haven't seen the policy updates, one, I understand if you're not a streamer. I completely get it. It only affects you if you stream. But if you're like, if you've seen that and like you understand what's happening, like it feels like the whole world is riding against Twitch right now. It's been interesting to see the community's reaction to their announcement and what that looks like. All right, so we're waiting on a game here. I'm gonna take a moment to talk about my Fatigue Briar deck. Now I haven't shared this with anybody yet, so this is all new. So if you guys are watching right now, you guys are kind of getting to see this for the first time, which I don't know. Like I always like seeing decks that people are streaming and things that they're trying to do. So looking at Fatigue Briar, so the idea behind this deck is that I wanted to turn Briar into Oldhim. Now, you can only do that so much because Oldhim is probably the best blocking deck in Flesh and Blood there ever has been. Sorry, there's like dust on top of my camera. It's probably like the best blocking deck there ever has been, like just period. You don't get to play Hammer or Tear Asunder. Like you don't get to play any of the power cards that really like make your deck broken. You end up playing Reaping Blade. So Reaping Blade is an interesting card. It's a 1-for-3, and if a hero has more life than any other hero, they can't gain life. And then you end up playing Crown of Seas just because Crown of Seas is like broken. Tunic, Grasp of the Arknight, which is really cool. So if you keep a blue in Oldhim, you get to Hammer for 4. If you keep a blue in Fatigue Briar, you get to play Grasp and Reaping Blade. I'm gonna make sure nobody joined the game. Like I don't think they have, because like you'd hear that. I think that makes a noise. But anyway, so but I started playing. All right, that's not what I wanted. I started playing Fatigue Briar. Oh, of course we get a. Let's fix everything back the way that it was. Sorry. Mine. Oldhim. I'm going to go first against Riptide. Hi, and good luck. And then... Alright. Okay, so we're definitely going to want Titan's Fist, Rampart. We're going to want all the usual suspects here. And then I think we're going to want to cut the Remembrance. I think that if they're playing the typical Riptide deck, they'll be on Dreadbore here, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to see what my opponent presents here and what we can find. Death Dealer. Intertesting. They presented 65 cards. I'm just going to move to Arsenal here. Kind of wish I had a sigil or something that I could do or set up in some cool way. But, I mean, it is what it is. We'll Arsenal the Rouse here. Sigil's the next card. Oh, man. Feels like a minor slap in the face. Oh, man. It's still not bad, though. What is Tripwire Trap? I don't even know what this card does. Hit effects don't trigger this chain link unless the attacking hero pays 1. That's pretty neat, and actually allows them to play around Command and Conquer Pummel, which is really cool. So this is an old school trap. Okay. Also, for anybody who's watching who doesn't know, all of the traps, the old school traps, trigger off of Riptide. So this is going to be for 7. So let's go Crown of Seeds. The difference between Riptide and Azalea is that they can't dominate stuff, and that is very, very relevant. So... Crown. I can just cover this up with Staunch Response. I mean, yeah, we're just gonna take that. I'd call that a win every day of the week and twice on Sunday. They can't play Razor because they don't have anything floating. It is worth noting that a lot of these lists do play like a one of Razor. So I am skeptical to throw the hammer here. Part of me wonders if I honestly just need to fatigue my opponent. Like if that just needs to be my train of thought here. And I think it does. Throwing hammer is scary because of tar pit trap. Now they get to use their like crappy crown of seeds here to try and make something like to hide information from me, which is not bad. Like I'm not saying that's a terrible line of play. Oh, they can load an arrow with New Horizons off of that. That's cool. They get to like reload a card there basically. That's fun. This is for 7. Let's start with Buckling Blow. We're probably just going to end up arsenaling the pummel here. Actually, probably just going to play... no, we need to block this. 1, 2, 4. So... 1, 2... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then so the Razor is good. I mean, I can't block all of it. I could Autumn's Touch here if I wanted to. Like I could Earth React to save as much damage as possible here. Probably best to just take 3 here. Like, I think most of these lists only play 1 Razor, so... Man, I really don't want to block with Autumn's Touch this early, but kind of feels like that's where the game's headed. That's fine. I'll just pay for Ironhide Legs here. We want to stop Infecting Shot, so... We really took 5 this turn instead of 3, which is relevant. It is very relevant to note. We won't pay 3. Arsenal that. I mean, again, we are in a situation where we can try to take tempo back by going like Pitch Macho Grande, Zealous Belting, Tunic Pummel into Debilitate Hammer. Like... Pitch Debilitate to Hammer. Like, we have a lot of options here. 5 goes down to 2.5, which is rounded up to 3. I mean, we're probably just going to block. Release Attention is, like, probably one of the scariest cards that we're having to play around right now. So this is for 7. So let's start with Tunic Crown. I might just have to start throwing in on Hammer every turn when I can. Block 3, 6. 7. Let Crown be our 7th point of blocking here. And then if they do decide to throw the Sleep Dart, we'll go 3, 4, 5. Block it out. We'll throw Hammer, Arsenal, Zealous Belting. So we did miss out on a turn or 2 of throwing the Hammer here out of fear of Tar Pit Trap. Now, I mean, they are more than likely playing Tar Pit Trap. Like, they're playing Riptide, so, like, they're probably just playing Tar Pit Trap. But there's absolutely no way for me to, like, know that. Unless I was, like, playing in a field or something that was, like, open deckless, which does happen from time to time. Like that will happen when you get into like top 8 of tournaments and things like that. You will be granted open deck lists in a lot of places. Death Dealer. So they're playing a ton of reds. If I remember this list correctly, they're only playing like 5 blues or something crazy. Like, it's something like wild. Activate Bullseye Bracers. Is not empty, so you cannot load an arrow. If you have no cards in your arsenal. Yeah, I mean, it's actually good to note because I'm sure I probably would have let somebody do Bullseye Bracers if they had a face-up card thinking they have an arsenal spot because of New Horizons. Am I lagging, or is my opponent sitting here going, what just happened? I think my opponent's sitting here going, what just happened? I just refreshed to make sure it wasn't me lagging, so it's always good to know when you are and are not lagging. I mean, sometimes you can't tell just because of the way Talishar like lags and is set up. Can't remind, can't remind. I've had Poker Face stuck in my head all day and I don't know why. Like, truly just don't know why. I've had it stuck in my head today, but I have. I don't really know what my opponent's doing here. Like, if they want to undo their Bullseye Bracers, like, it's fine. I would rather them take back their Bullseye Bracers and, like, us play, like, a better game. But they're just not typing in the chat or, like, saying anything. If like, this were, like, at a tournament that mattered to me, right? Like, if we were playing... let's take this weekend, for example, right? We're playing for a... you know, like a 1K invite, and my opponent activates Bullseye Bracers and like it doesn't work, and like they're like two steps past what's happening to do that. I'm gonna be like, no, you can't take that back. Like, and that's and in my opinion, everybody may disagree with me, but that doesn't make me a dick. Like, that doesn't make me a bad person. It just makes me competitive, and I just want my opponent to play by the rules. Now, again, we're playing in the same tournament this weekend, and my opponent activates Bullseye Bracers and then goes, oh, wait, before they actually do anything or give any information up, and they go, hey, like, this doesn't work because of my arsenal, I'd like to take this back. I'd be like, yeah, you haven't done anything. Like, we have not passed a game action here. Like, please take that back. I'm not going to count this as a win because I don't know. Like, I'm not going to write that down. So... hey, is this 7 creative? Yeah, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. I like feel like I had a small stroke trying to like read your name there, but I appreciate the follow. Appreciate you stopping by and hanging out tonight. Oh, I forgot to put my text on the comp game. What did I put? Playing Oldhim. Need practice for tourney. There it is. So I think it's best that I'm putting playing Oldhim. Is this even creative? Ah, that makes more sense. I was reading that as is this 7, and that doesn't make sense because there's not enough S's there, but that's cool. I like that name. I mean, I feel like asking the question there automatically puts the emphasis on it being creative. So oh boy. I've not played this game yet, but super interested. You mean like Flesh and Blood? Seems very complex and hard though to win. So I mean, one, if like, have you ever played like a TCG before, like in any setting, whether it be casual or competitive? I always find it funny when I get to like ask these questions because there's always like a delay between like when I say it and when it actually comes through on Twitch. And so I'm always like waiting for an answer. Pokemon a handful of times. Okay, gotcha. So I mean, if you've played like other TCGs before, Flesh and Blood will be pretty simple to like pick up and understand. One of the hardest things to understand for new players is called Go Again. Go Again is probably the hardest mechanic to wrap people's heads around. So tried to play MTG but didn't like it. Okay. So what didn't you like about MTG, just out of curiosity? Because I love Flesh and Blood, and I come from playing like Magic for 7 years before I got into Flesh and Blood, and I enjoyed Magic for a long time, but the variance kind of got to me after a while, and Flesh and Blood is a lot less variance than Magic for sure. So creative, the one thing I would tell you about getting into Flesh and Blood is that, oh, I played against this person earlier. Played against this person earlier today when I was testing Fatigue Briar. Creative, when you start looking into Flesh and Blood, one thing that I would keep in mind is the game is like very analytical. There is a lot of numbers and a lot of counting, and you are generally rewarded when you play Flesh and Blood for just being able to count better than your opponent and being able to understand card sequences better. There are a lot of card games like let's take Magic for example. You can play as well as you can just physically play against your opponent in Magic, and sometimes you just can't win. 99% of the time, if you lose in Flesh and Blood, it's because you did something wrong, and you'll often hear me talk about that. If you're looking to learn more about Flesh and Blood, you can hit !YouTube and check out my YouTube channel. And I know I'm like shamelessly plugging myself right now, but in all seriousness, I made a video called Fab Jargon, and it talks about the basics of Flesh and Blood, like the combat chain, Go Again, defense reactions, and it kind of gives you like an introduction to the game. So honestly, that's one of the first places I would tell you to start. It tells you a lot about the game and kind of like gives you some like tips and like some things that I wish I knew when I got into Flesh and Blood. So against Viserai, we're gonna cut Staunches and we're gonna cut Remembrance, and we're just gonna run 68 cards. My opponent hasn't picked what they're doing yet. So yeah, creative. It is me like shamelessly plugging myself a little bit. But the video, it's a good video that I put some like real time and thought into the script to try and make. I took a lot of time and put a lot of time and effort into that script to make it more to make the script like very understandable for a lot of people. I don't think I'm smart enough to win them, lol. It seems like chess and I like checkers. Oh, I do get that. I am somebody who enjoys checkers a lot. So, and I love Flesh and Blood, so take it for what it's worth. But I mean, obviously I'm a little biased. I'm obviously going to push you to I'm obviously somebody who's going to push you towards playing the game because I love Flesh and Blood, and I'm of the opinion that the more people that play Flesh and Blood, the better it is for the game. Just because I think it's a great game and a lot of fun. So I've watched a bunch of videos already, just haven't played yet, and I can't decide which Blitz hero I want. Okay, that's fair. Are there some Blitz heroes that you're looking at starting with? Like, do you have it narrowed down to like 3 or 4, or are you still looking at like every hero available to play? All right, I don't know what my opponent's doing. I want to play against them. Like, they were super nice earlier. we played earlier today, and they were like, they were talking about how they were at work and they could only like pay attention so much to like what was happening, which is fair. I mean, I am the kind of person who does from time to time try to get games in while I'm at work. So I completely understand that side of it. When I have time, if my boss is watching this, I don't ever play cards at work, obviously. But it's tough to like try to work and do your job and also play cards at the same time because you're trying to focus. Like that's my problem, is that like there would be a lot of days when I would like work from home and I had Magic downloaded on my computer. And so I would just like I would work and play Magic like in the background because I could turn my brain off and play Magic. But you can't do that with Flesh and Blood because Flesh and Blood is like very difficult and it's very hard. And you have to really focus and make sure that you're paying attention to what you're trying to accomplish. Part of me wants to just present 70 cards into my opponent. Seems a little dumb, but I think I'm just going to present 70 cards here. I haven't really been punished for presenting too many cards into people. Wow, this is an interesting hand. It's normally the opposite that I have a problem with, is like you present not enough cards. Yeah, see, my opponent presented 73 cards into me. 73 cards. That might be the most nonsense thing I've seen all day. Thought about Bravo, but everyone says to upgrade because the deck sucks. Or Fi. Whichever one is more simple to learn, I guess, but I don't want a girl character. Okay, I mean, whatever you want to play, man. You get no judgment from me regardless. So, I mean, Fi is very simple to learn and very on the nose. And Fi is also very good in Blitz. Bravo doesn't really suck, but Bravo's not very good in Blitz. So whoever told you that probably just has played a little bit too much Blitz Bravo and got ran over by some of the ninja decks. I think we're just gonna crown here, honestly. I'm gonna hope I draw blue. Darn, didn't draw blue. So I like putting a sink below on the bottom of my deck here just because I think it's gonna help me out here. I'm gonna play Fate for Scene, honestly. Like, we're gonna put that on the bottom. All right, well, nothing got pushed through, which is fine with me. We'll throw Hammer for 4, pitching the Endless Winter. I don't care to like, I'd like to put the Endless Winter back in my deck. Every time they block with a card off of my Hammer, that's a win for me, especially against Dory. We've now put 4 or 5 cards back into our deck, so I think we can crown here safely. So we'll put a sink into our second hand. Pitching a Glint. So I'm just gonna say no reactions here. If they want to pop their Refraction Bolters on this turn, deal. So we're representing Tunic with Pummel and Hammer here, so I'm just gonna take a good turn here and just throw it at him. I like Kano too for CC, but I heard it's a difficult hero. So honestly, playing Kano is pretty difficult. I come from somebody like who likes to play like aggro decks in Magic and like try to run people over. And I honestly thought Kano was like a very simple like just like burn like arcane like damage, like throwing like spells at your opponent when I first started playing. And I very quickly found out that that's not the case at all. Kano is very difficult to play. If you're familiar with Magic at all, it's very similar to Storm in the fact that you're trying to like piece together this puzzle. I don't really know what my opponent is waiting on here. Like, they're probably just trying to, like, have a bigger turn, if I had to guess. I can block Debilitate, throw Cranial Crush, and still Arsenal a card. It appears that my opponent's not going to give me anything here, so... What does aggro mean? Aggro is like aggressive, like something that's like you're trying to win the game pretty fast. So like in Flesh and Blood, your aggro, your fast decks that are trying to win the game quickly are they don't really win in like 3 to 4 turns like you would in a lot of games. While they are quick and they try to put a lot of pressure on your opponent, they still take some time to develop just because of how Flesh and Blood is played. So that is definitely something to think about. Flesh and Blood is like a very skill-oriented game that rewards people for playing the long game. So, sorry if I'm throwing terms at you that like you're not familiar with. You can just ask me. I do apologize. After playing cards for so long, I just like instinctually think about these things over and over again. So we'll see if they have a reaction. We'll just see what they do here. I was like, so I can cover this up with Autumn's Touch. Yeah, blocking this with Autumn's Touch. There's just so much value in that. I thought about getting into Pokemon, but I just can't stand the artwork, and I absolutely love the artwork of Fab. So, I mean, the artwork of Flesh and Blood is really cool. Like, I am 100% inclined to agree with you on there. The artwork is really cool. I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of people that play card games, not to stereotype, are into the like whole like waifu, like, you know, like anime thing. And I'm honestly, I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. It doesn't appeal to me in any way. So the fact that Flesh and Blood is very like, I don't know, like I feel like it's like a card game for adults, if you want my honest opinion. And that's kind of how I describe it. So is aggro harder than other decks? It can be. It can be. I wouldn't say it's harder than Kano, but it can be harder than some decks, yeah. Man, this is wildly unfortunate. This is like a really weird hand. I have to pitch my Pulverize with the Autumn's Touch to play my Zealous Spell thing. Yeah, that was weird. So they do have defense reactions. 73 cards and they're playing Sinks. They're probably on Stillblade Shunts too, if I had to guess. I could just throw Hammer here and Arsenal the Endless Winter. Nah, let's go get him. We'll just go ham here. Go right after him. I mean, this is a 13-point turn, and we are setting up to have our Pulverize with 3 blues, which is very valuable for us. What is the other style than aggro, and what hero plays that style? So aggro is like very fast style of play, and its decks like Fi is an aggro deck. Trying to think, Briar, Viserai are all aggro decks. And then non-aggro decks are more like control-y style decks, fatigue style. And that's like Oldhim is very fatigue. Oldhim is a very heavy fatigue hero. Now he is out of the format, so you won't really have to worry about that anymore, but he is... God, this hand's awful. But he's what's considered like a fatigue-y style hero. Seems like no one plays Blitz at all. So Blitz is a very hated on format. I'll be real with you. People hate on Blitz a lot. Like Blitz is not really liked by the community. And here's why. Blitz is very high rolly. And when I say high rolly, I mean like if I draw better than you earlier than you, I win because we're starting the game at 20 instead of 40 in most cases. And some heroes in Blitz even start at like 16, 18, 19, like, you know, like it's really low life totals. And so if you are playing if you're playing like a 3 to 4 turn game, which is very short for Flesh and Blood, then like it's very easy to get like high rolled, if that makes any sense. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be as clear as I can while focusing on what I'm doing. But that's why a lot of people don't play Blitz very often. My opponent's definitely setting up for like some kind of like combo kill here. Oh, I need to use Tunic here. We just had Natty Pulverize with the Tunic counter on first cycle, which feels really good. Not something you see very regularly, but I am not complaining. Yeah, now you're gonna give me that skull cap. So Skullcap, Overpower, Iron Song response. Do they have a Stillblade Shunt here they're about to use? Yeah, they use Tunic counter, so they have a red Stillblade Shunt. Okay, so they cover up our... We took 3 to get 3 cards out of their deck and a counter on their Skullcap, which, I mean, that's a trade I'd make. When I said that, I thought of, what's the... Hang on just a second. When I said I'd make that deal, I thought about Inglourious Bastards. If you guys have ever seen that movie, forgive my language. But I love that movie, and I love at the end of the movie where he's like, I'd make that deal. How about you, Yudovich? You'd make that deal? Like, that's what it made me think of. Oh, Lord. Pitching a route. Okay, so my opponent's trying to pitch stack here, like, pretty aggressively. I'm really holding out for like that I can actually pummel something and it matter. I'm just willing to take 3 here to throw my hand, which is pretty valuable here back. Good old Tarantino. I mean, Tarantino, like, I know you like Quentin Tarantino more than like what I would say most people should, but like Inglourious Bastards is a great movie. And honestly, Tarantino's made a lot of good films over the years. I'm not hating on Tarantino. I think I've kind of come to a point where I'm like, ugh, my God, Quentin Tarantino, because you talk about him so much. Part of me wants to pummel here. Do I think it's right? I don't know. We're getting ready to find out. I'm just going to throw it at him. So is Bravo and Phi different play styles? I like the art style of Viserai too. So Bravo and Phi are definitely different play styles. Bravo is more of like what I would call like a mid-rangey style where like he tries to play like a slower, grindier game and like take his bigger turns that have more value when he can. And Phi is just like throw all of my cards at you every turn and just try to kill you. Like, and that's honestly how I would describe their gameplay differences. Oh, pop an energy potion. Nourishing emptiness. Is that on? Boo. So we pitched Choke Slam, play to block with Brothers in Arms, Ironhide Legs here, and then play Sigil, Arsenal, Spinal Crush. It definitely feels like our best play here. I mean, maybe there's a world where we're supposed to like give another card here. I guess we could have went Brothers in Arms, Crater Fist. No, because we're still pitching either way. We could have pitched a Spinal Crush and then thrown Hammer and not had an Arsenal, and I just think that's wrong. I mean, and like creative, the art style of Like, honestly, the art style of a lot of the cards and a lot of the heroes is really fun, in my opinion. I am inclined to agree with you. I do really like the art on Viserai. I played Viserai for a few months. I'm a pretty avid Viserai player. Like, not really now, but oh boy, yikes! So what? 3, 6, 7, 9. Let's hope that's not a... I mean, I guess that could be a lot of things in their hand. We need like a staunch. Boo. Okay. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Crown is 1, Rampart's 1, this is 4, this is 7. So I'm better off... I guess I'm better off blocking the next thing here. Giving them a card, which I do not like to do. It's quite a bit of damage we're taking also. This was... my opponent played very patiently and took their time to set up this turn and wait for this turn, and I tip my hat to them because not a lot of people have the patience to do that kind of stuff, especially when they understand what I'm playing and how I've played against them so far. I've played very aggressively, and my opponent has played with a lot of patience. So Spinal Crush. I mean, if they have a pump spell here, I am dead to rights. Like, they're gonna push over the top. Yeah, like, and there's nothing I can do about it here. Oh, that's such a good one too, because they can go get an Iron Song response here. Yeah. Well played. Good hand by my opponent. And they get to draw a card to Arsenal here. This was a good setup turn by my opponent. I'm gonna use Tunic and Debilitate to throw my Endless Winter here. We're still up 6 points, and I'm still putting pressure on my opponent. I've also only played 1 Sigil. So what? And I played 2 Zealous Beltings and 1 Rouse. Yeah, so I mean, I still feel like we are pushing the tempo right now, like, and we're kind of like trying to stay in the driver's seat. So I go up to 53 cards and down to 49. So I'm up 7 cards. I'm up 7 cards. I'm up 6 life, and I'm throwing an Endless Winter. Endless Winter is very relevant. Also, I put a Sync and a Fate on the bottom of my deck. So I have defense reactions coming around the second cycle. We just have to get there. I also have 2 Staunches I haven't seen. Like, there's a Staunch. Not a huge fan of putting the Sigil back on the bottom of my deck, but this hand is like just kind of garbage. So we're just going to have to try and find something better here. So if we block Pummel, I don't like blocking with Pummel. I can block Buckling Blow. Block Buckling Blow. Play Staunch Response. So I'm covering up 11. And then I can play Sigil, Arsenal, Pummel. That seems better than anything else I'd come up with. The only thing that really punishes me here is a route. If they route the Staunch Response back to my hand, it's really bad for me. Now, my opponent didn't know that. My opponent probably thinks I'm just going to pitch another blue and play my Staunch, but I would have had to gotten rid of both of my cards there. Man, I need that Tunic counter. I need that Tunic counter. Ah! So I might just be taking their turn here, which I know is like super greedy and super wrong in this matchup because I'm supposed to try and fatigue them. But man, Command and Conquer Pummel is just so good. Yeah, we're doing it. So yeah, I'm gonna take 5. I'm gonna try and block the second one. I'm going to hope that Crater Fist and Fate Foreseen is enough to save me on the second one. It's probably not. Like, I could just take 3 here. You know what? I'm actually just going to take 3 here. I go to 19. I give them a counter. And then I get to throw Command and Conquer Pummel. I mean, and I get to Arsenal my Fate Foreseen. Like, this seems like a pretty, like, was it probably wrong of me to just take 8 damage there? Absolutely. Just me being greedy. I don't think it's a decision I ever would have made, like, in a, like, real environment where, like, this win mattered. But sometimes I really like to push the limitations of Oldhim and see what we can accomplish. Now, again, that's just me being a giant greed monster. But I also think it's important to take risks like this and to take those chances because you never really know what a hero is capable of until you start pushing the boundaries. Defense reactions not being able to be played on Command & Conquer is so good. Like, there's so much value in this, because if my opponent blocks 6, absolute, like, dude, in what world do I not have this? I mean, that's fine. Honestly, like, as far as I'm concerned, oh my gosh. You love to see it. You love to see it. Let's remember this moment. 2 hours and 32 minutes into the stream. I got to remember this moment. What is this? For 5? So if I go here, is there any way for them to pump this? Like, am I doing something stupid? Okay, I was like, I just want to make sure I'm not doing something real dumb here. I mean, yeah, boy, let's do it. I mean, this is my last pummel. Yeah, this is my last pummel, so it's not like I'm gonna, like, get them with the pummel play or something here, but I'm gonna keep the Terra Sunder in my arsenal because even though I left Command and Conquer on top of my deck, you never know what you're gonna draw. Like, every card you give me is just value for me because it means you're just discarding. My opponent is now flipping a chair because I've had back-to-back Command and Conquer pummel turns. Oh. And honestly, the crazy part is it might have just been better for me to keep my Command and Conquer there. So okay, so we have a couple of options here, and we're going to talk about them for a second. I can block with Command and Conquer cleanly and easily, and I'm good to go. I can block with this. So if I block with the Command and Conquer, I'm committing to playing Terra Sunder, attacking with Hammer, and then arsenaling my Sink Below. If I play my Sink Below here, I'm committing to play Terra Sunder and then Hammer, and then arsenaling my Command and Conquer. The Command and Conquer gets 2 cards out of their hand, but I think it has less value over the course of the game. I could also just, like, taking 3 here is redundant because this is not relevant for the Terra Sunder. Man, if you could Terra Sunder that, that would be insane. Yeah, I'm just going to keep the... I'm going to keep the Sink Below. I think the Sink Below has more value over the course of the game. Like, they're going to give me Braveforge Bracers and a card here, which is fine. It's not like the Terra Sunder play is to, like, blow them out or anything. Like, they're not playing Lexi, so like they can stop this very easily. Most decks can, but it's also getting cards out of their deck. I'm going to go up to 43 and then down to 39, so I'm still up 7 cards. So there is 0 ways for me to play the Rouse here. Absolutely 0 ways for me to play the Rouse. So I could go Terrace Under Hammer here. I could just play the Sink Below, play Terrace Under Hammer, and then... I mean, they do have a lot of defense reactions. So we've seen 2 Sink Belows and a Steel Blade Shunt. I think having the Staunch in my arsenal is like a pretty ultimate trump card for me. I don't know. I like having the Staunch. That's a pretty dope trump card here. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and play it. Like, what am I drawing to if I put something on the bottom? Spinal Crush. Like, I'm looking at Spinal Crush. I'm looking at my last Zealous Belting, which I know I'm not going to draw because I pitch stacked it. I don't think there's a reason for me to actually sink a card here. Yeah, I don't think there's a reason for me to sink a card. Now, it's very possible they have a defense reaction here. Wrong thing. Let's make sure we don't make dodo plays. So, Terrace Under Hammer for 5. They have their last Sink Below. Okay. I was like, the only reason they would give us their last Sink Below, like the Brave Forge Bracers, is if they have Sink Below. If they had a Steel Blade Shunt, they would have just kept it. They'd have just kept the Brave Forge Bracers for the point. I can't remember what I put on the bottom last turn, which is maybe... Oh, wow. So I could have bottomed my Rouse and found Spinal Crush, which would have been cool, but also would have been like... pretty bad play by me. Again, I don't really see a reason to sink anything here. Like, I like my hand. My opponent just going to push over 2 points here. If they play anything else and, like, pump this up to 9, I'm going to... Okay. Nice. So they're going for, like, a bigger play here. So, is Staunch worth 3 points here? My first inclination is no. I think Staunch is worth stop and go again. I can Arsenal the Spinal Crush. Sheesh. Good play, opponent. Well played. They've been sitting on that overpower for a long time. That took a lot of patience to block. That took, or not to block. That took a lot of patience to for them to sit on like that. So I tip my hat to them. That was a well played turn. I'm just gonna Arsenal here. I want to hang on to my Spinal Crush. I hate that I don't have any pummels to go with it left in my deck. I do like having Endless Winter here. Endless Winter. This is my first pitch stack hand. Yeah, this is exactly my first pitch stack hand. So I think I'm just going to put the Spinal Crush on the bottom. Actually. No, there's a blue coming next. That was wrong. There's a blue coming next. So I'm going to pitch this, draw my blue. Then the card after that's going to be a Fate Foreseen. Or it's blue Fate Foreseen. I can't remember. Yeah. So we're just going to throw our cards in front of it. We haven't really used Rampart this game, which is probably me just playing poorly. not playing the way I should. So this is blocking 6. Okay, so Glint. All right, so blocking 6 here is decent because it means that their first pump spell won't get over the top. And if they're playing a second one, we have our sink below here to bail us out of whatever they decide to do. Okay. Coming in for 4, and I'm blocking 6 currently. So I'm curious to see what they get here. Like out for blood, maybe? Since this has go again automatically, they might go get an out for blood. I will definitely use my sink below on an out for blood here. Twinning blade. Okay. I mean, this has go again, so it's not a problem. If they go bracers into Dawnblade, I was like, I'm okay taking 2 here. They might pop their bolters. They did pop bolters. Interesting. Okay, pitching a glistening Stillblade. Dawnblade for 4. I am going to go sink this time. I don't want them to have a thing. I don't know. I don't think they've played all their Iron Song responses. They have yellows. Like, people are playing yellows and stuff now, so, like, it's very possible that they have a... Okay, so they're going to use Energy Potion to put a counter. It's like they're not going to put that back in my hand, but they do push through 3 points here, and they get a counter, which, I mean, it's not for nothing. Like, that is a relevant thing to do. I'm going to use Tunic and throw my Endless Winter here. Endless Winter is a very good card for Disruption, because every time they activate an ability, they get a Frostbite if it hits them, which means they're incentivized to block this card. And the more they block with, the less they have to threaten me with as far as Dawnblade is concerned. Now, I know that there's a Fate Foreseen in my hand coming. It wasn't the next card, but we did know it was coming. So this is for 6. They do have a Frostbite, which means this would have to be a 0-cost card. How many 0 costs have they played? So reactions that they play as 0 cost are Iron Song response. They could also play a 1-coster because of their Tunic. They use their Tunic to get through the Frostbite, and then they have 1 floating left. So played red Iron Song response, yellow, blue, red, blue, red. So all the reds are gone. I don't know how many yellows they're on, if you want the truth. So block, Winter's Grasp, mulch. See what they do. We have Fate Foreseen as backup here. And if they decide just to let our 6 block out here, then we get to swing Hammer and Arsenal Fate Foreseen, which is by far a win for us. That's like what I would call this a big win. Oh, so it was yellow Iron Song response, so I was right. So they have no way to give this go again, but they get to keep their counter. Is me going to 10? I think that's worth them keeping their counter. I think Fate Foreseen's just better. Like, oh, it has go again? So, like, again, in a situation, well, I don't know. I probably would have let somebody take that back even in a competitive setting when they went to go Tunic and I went, okay, Frostbite. Like, I probably would have let them take that back just because, I don't know, like, I'm not really a big fan of trying to win games that way. If you guys want the God's honest truth. It's a Stillblade shunt. Getting ready to put me to 9, brother. All right. So I go to 9. So we do have to be careful. We can die. Like, it's not like we're invincible here. Like, Dory is a very favored matchup for us, but I've played this in a very risky fashion. So, how many routes have they played? 1? And I know they pitch stacked at least 1 or 2. There's 1 route. I think, do they block with a route? No. Okay. Quite a few routes left in their deck. At least one more. Some people are on 3. Some people are on the Josh Lau special. Let's go disable. I have no interest in keeping disables in my deck. I have Autumn's Touch and Fate Foreseen here to back me up. I was expecting more. Just gonna be honest with y'all. I was expecting more. So they probably have another Stillblade Shunt here. I understand they want to play it on my hammer, but they should probably only be playing the Stillblade Shunts on my Titan's Fist if it's gonna kill me. This is a good hand. When my opponent's at 4. So this is going to be for 5. Man. We almost got to do it to him. So we're not going to I'm gonna pitch. I'm gonna pitch Buckling Blow, and then I'm gonna use Autumn's Touch at first. Because I just think the Fate Foreseen has more value. Like, I know that they could very easily do something and push over the top here if they wanted to, but we just have more value with like keeping the Autumn's Touches in our deck. And then now we have Tunic Crown, which we probably won't even use because of our Fate Foreseen. How many defense reactions are left? This might be the only one. We played both of our Staunches, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we definitely played both of our Staunches. There's all 3 Sync Belows. Fate. Yeah, this is the last defense reaction in our deck. So, and we're about to pull the Oldhim special. Like, we're not over the mountain yet, but we're well on our way to running them out of cards here. This is looking better and better the longer this game goes on for us. Okay, so this is going to be for 6. They can pitch a card and play Overpower. And if it's red Overpower, then we can go... So we block Debilitate Macho Grande. And then we have Autumn's Touch Fate Foreseen if that is red Overpower. We could have played around yellow Overpower by... We could have played around yellow Overpower by using Tunic to block with Rampart. Yeah, their tricks are getting weak at this point, which is where we want to be because they've pitched a lot of blues. I'd be willing to bet, like, they've only played... How many Stillblade Shunts have they played? I always gotta remember what the card looks like before I can... Stillblade Shunt. They played one recently. Stillblade Shunt, there it is, with a sword. Guy with the sword up. Guy with the sword up. They've played 2 Stillblade Shunts, which means there's probably one more left if I had to guess. They probably want to get us low enough to where it actually matters before they play it. So... Uh-oh. It's good they had to pitch that Iron Song Determination with that. So what? This is going to be for 5? I mean, let's go Footsteps, Mulch. We're going to use Tunic to block with... we're going to use Tunic to block with Ram's Head. And I will explain why. While the Ram's Head may seem like a little menial here, if my opponent has 2 pump spells here, which is not likely, okay, or that is also why. So if my opponent had 2 pump spells or red overpower, I just hadn't got to talking about red overpower yet, blocking with Ram's Head still allows us to cover up their Dawnblade with our Fate Foreseen. So using Tunic to block with Ram's Head was very beneficial for us there. It's honestly like just kind of like Blowout City. And then we're going to go Macho Grande, because the faster we can get back around to a Macho Grande, the better. Macho Grande will end the game. Are they just taking 4? Oh, no, they have their Stillblade Shunt. I mean, I guess you should just use your cards at this point. Every point matters. So there's nothing that kills me here, and then I can just say no blocks, throw Spinal Crush, and play Sigil, because there's literally nothing that kills me here. Like, I'm just agreeing to go to 5, which means I'm really just agreeing to stay at 8, which, like, honestly, I'm completely fine with. Now, I guess I could have a blue pummel in my arsenal. I could be an absolute mad person and just still have a blue pummel. If you're playing blue pummels inside of Oldhim, just play Bravo. Like that's what I've said to multiple people. Like if you're playing blue pummel inside of Oldhim, just play Bravo. Like just play Bravo. You just want to play Bravo. Oh, play Energy Potion, huh? Well, thanks for playing, Budro. So we're gonna get to throw a Cranial Crush for 9 Dominate, on hit, discard 2 cards. I mean, unless there's like a hidden defense reaction, it's like that I'm not aware of there, we're gonna win this one. So I mean, like, that matchup is just Oldhim favored. Like, straight up, it's just Oldhim favored. It's just all it is. Like, there's not really much to talk about there. So, all right. Well, we streamed about 3 hours. I'm a few minutes short, but we ended up going 3-2 tonight. I feel like my 2 losses were me shaking off the rust. Honestly, like, just me shaking off the rust there and not playing well for a couple games. Losing to Icelander. I don't know that I could have won that game if I'm looking back on it, but I could have taken a different line, and I think it would have played the game a lot differently. So I don't know. I took the option of putting on more pressure and just racing them, but I think, I don't know, like, my different line could have helped or hurt me there more. I'm not sure. And then we lost to, what do I lose to round 3? I can't remember what my second loss was to, but I remember it was like in the 3rd game. I remember being 1-2, but I remember both losses. I just kind of felt like this was me playing dumb. Like, I should have played better. So anyway, guys, if y'all hung out tonight, I really appreciate y'all coming by and hanging out with me tonight. I'm going to go over my Twitch rant one more time before I call it a night. If you guys are watching me on Twitch, if you guys follow me and watch me on Twitch, one, I really appreciate the support. With Twitch's new guidelines being that you can no longer multi-stream across any platforms, I'm no longer going to be streaming on Twitch at the end of June. So starting in July, I will be on YouTube, Kick, and Facebook, streaming, probably 3 or 4 nights a week. But I will no longer be on Twitch. I cut my affiliate status with Twitch sometime at the end of the year, so that I could use Restream as a multi-stream platform to reach a bigger audience. So I cut my only form of revenue with Twitch, and now they've made it to where you can't multi-stream at all. So this was kind of the last straw with me for Twitch. So at the end of the month, I will be done with Twitch. So if you guys like my content, you want to support me, you can hit !YouTube and find me there. I think you can hit !Kick now and find me on Kick. Trying to get going on Kick. I'd like to make Flesh and Blood its own category on Kick. So if you really want to support me, follow me there. It'd be a big help. But yeah, that's my rant. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy, guys.